Hello VCE Revolution students, and welcome back to another video on revolutions. In this video I'm going to show you how to respond to a source analysis question in an extended response. A 5 mark, you can see here, source analysis question. So this question here I set my students on their most recent SAC on the Russian Revolution. And it asks them to respond to this source here, to discuss this source here, which is a painting by Ivan Vladimirov, 1919, and it's about the Cheka. And the question asked, using source 4 and your own knowledge, explain how the Cheka helped to consolidate Bolshevik authority in Russia between November 1917 and 1927. And when you are reading a question like this, you need to identify the key parts of it and respond to those key parts. And there are 3 key things that a student needed to do in order to get high marks in responding to this question. The first thing was they needed to refer to source 4. The second thing, they also need to include their own knowledge, using your own knowledge. And the final thing was they needed to take note of this period of time that the question was asking about. And the period of time is November 1917 up to 1927, which meant that if a student responded to this question and referred to events or ideas or factors prior to November 1917, so October 1917 or April 1917, any of those points about that period of time prior to 1917, November 1917, were not relevant, and the student would not have got marks for those points. So keeping all of those things in mind, I'm going to go through an example response to this question. It was written by one of my students. It is a high scoring question, and I just want to thank that student, Student N, for giving me permission to use their example response. So let's get into it. So the first thing you need to do in responding to this question is you need to start with a contention, which sets out a clear viewpoint. So here is the contention here. The Cheka was a crucial part of the Red Terror, and through its methods of inspiring fear was instrumental in crushing opposition against the Bolsheviks and consolidating Bolshevik authority in Russia between November 1917 and 1927. It includes the key terms from the question, such as we can see here, the Cheka. We can see also use the term here, consolidate Bolshevik authority. We've got consolidating Bolshevik authority in Russia, and also includes that period of time. Now, one thing you need to avoid when you are writing your contention is to make sure that you just don't restate the question, okay? And this contention does not restate the question because it includes a lot of all the key points, but it also includes the student's own viewpoint about how the Bolsheviks consolidated, or how the Cheka helped the Bolsheviks to consolidate their authority in Russia. And it's this part here. So the Cheka was a crucial part of the Red Terror, and through its methods of inspiring fear was instrumental in crushing opposition. So crushing opposition. This is how the Cheka helped the Bolsheviks to consolidate their authority in Russia. Okay, and then the remainder of the response will support this contention. All right, so let's get into the first point in the main body of the response. So the decree on the establishment of the Cheka, passed in December 1917, stated that the purpose of the Cheka was to destroy counter-revolution and sabotage. I'll just read through a little bit more of the response and then we'll go back and break it down a bit. These terms allowed the Cheka to target anyone who opposed the Bolsheviks, or more broadly, the communist regime, meaning the Cheka killed many bourgeoisie and nobles during the Red Terror. They executed over 100,000 people. These executions could occur without justification or warning. As Felix Dzerzhinsky, the head of the Cheka, said, "We have no need for justice now." So we'll just stop here and unpack this a little bit. So these points are all responding or building upon this contention here that the Cheka was able to crush opposition within Russia to help the Bolsheviks consolidate their authority. So what the student has done, they've included lots and lots of evidence, they're ticking lots and lots of boxes, and they're satisfying this part of the question here, which asks you to include your own knowledge of how the Cheka helped the Bolsheviks. So the students referred to a specific decree, the decree on the establishment of the Cheka. They've included the key date, December 1917, all own knowledge. And then they've also included a key quote here, to destroy counter-revolution and sabotage, from the decree itself. So ticks, tick, ticks. Primary source evidence, a primary source quote, wonderful. These terms allow the Cheka to target anyone, da-da-la-da-la, da-da-la-da-la, da-da-la-da-la. And then we come to an awesome stat here, 100,000 people. During the Red Terror, the Cheka executed over 100,000 people, more own knowledge there. So they're satisfying this very, very easily. And then they're even adding more here of their own knowledge. These executions could occur without justification or warning, as Felix Dzerzhinsky, key leader, the head of the Cheka, said, "We have no need for justice now." So the students also included more primary source evidence in the form of a quote here from Felix Dzerzhinsky. So all of this here, this satisfies this part of the question, include your own knowledge, using your own knowledge. It also is referring to the period of time, November 1917 to 1927. So it's ticking all of these boxes too. Okay, let's keep going. So source 4 shows how brutal these executions could be, as the man in the image has been dragged into the basement by the Cheka members, identifiable by their hats and military style uniforms, and is shot. So in this part of the response, the student is analysing the image and showing its relevance back to the question here, okay, about how the Bolsheviks, about how the Cheka helped the Bolsheviks to consolidate their authority. And this image certainly shows that the Cheka managed to do this through inspiring fear and crushing opposition, which these Cheka are doing to this man right here in the basement. So the student has referred to source 4, linked it to their contention. It's relevant, so they've also satisfied this part of the question here. And then the student finishes off with a bit of a conclusion, as well as some more own knowledge. The Cheka carried out these killings using their unlimited powers of arrest, torture and detention, and in doing so suppressed all dissent in Russia. For example, in 1921, the Cheka crushed 120 peasant uprisings, allowing the Bolsheviks to retain control. So there's more evidence from the student's own knowledge. Another key date, and I've got the word amount here. So this is 196 words, which is maybe slightly longer than you would be able to write in the exam itself. You'd certainly, if you've got enough time in a sack, you should be able to do that amount of that amount of words. But some of you will be able, those of you who write quickly and well, will be able to write that amount of words for a 5-mark question on the exam. So there it is. I hope you have found this video on how to write an extended response to a source analysis question useful for your study of the Russian Revolution, or the Chinese Revolution, or the French Revolution, or the American Revolution for the Revolutions course. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.